Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our FC26 career mode here with Burnley. We've got loads to get through today. It's a bumper episode as we're going to have games in all four competitions today. Europa League, Premier League, League Cup and FA Cup. But before we get to any of that, we're into the January window and I'm kicking off with a new signing. Yeah, guys, the man that I'm going to go for is more of a long-term option in midfield at just 23 years of age. We've got Hakan and, of course, we've got Alex Scott. But I think in the long run, this guy can provide great cover for Alex, who, of course, has had his injury problems this season. And that is Ezekiel Banzuzi of Frankfurt. I love how well-rounded he is. And I think on that box crasher role, he's going to be fantastic with the 81 finishing. But he's got great passing and pretty good defending as well, and I think at 6'3", he's going to be a real presence. Available on the cheap with his contract expiring at the end of next season, and I think this is a great signing from Eintracht Frankfurt. Let's bring him in. Yeah, what a fantastic bit of business from Burnley. Just £20 million to bring the Dutchman to Turf Moor. And as I say, Hakan was here as a sort of short-term solution. And he's actually played a hell of a lot more than I was expecting him to in this first season due to the injury to Alex Scott. I only really brought him in for those Europa League games with his experience. But moving forward, I think Ezekiel is a great rotational piece to have alongside Alex Scott. And I think he fits the system like a glove. So really happy with that signing. But now we've got that out of the way, we've got loads of games to jump into today, kicking off with our first as we take on Aston Villa. Big game away from home at Villa Park. Obviously, we played them at the beginning of the previous episode and played out a pretty brilliant 0-0 draw. I can't believe there weren't any goals in that game, so I'm hoping to see some goals today and hopefully we'll be on the end of the right result as it's getting so tight at the top of the table. Come on, you Clarets. Well, we've got 23 minutes to play here. Both sides turning to their bench, but it's very tight and cagey here at Villa Park, and that might fall for Tielemans, who on the turn lashes it wide, but it's a big game for both sides today. We could extend the lead at the top, but for Villa, if they win today, they will jump up to 41 points, just 3 behind us, and we'll go level on points with Newcastle and Man City, who are chasing us in the Premier League. So, huge game for both sides. As Illing Jr. does well. Now Banzuzi off the bench. Florentino into Jadon Philogene. Big save by Emi Martinez. And that is the closest either side has come. Quarter of an hour to play. I would not be one bit surprised if this finishes 0-0. Yep, that is going to do it here at Villa Park. And both of our games against Aston Villa this season have ended in 0-0 draws. Two sides that are pretty evenly matched, and there was a lot riding on this one as well, with both teams separated by just, I think, 5 points at the top of the Premier League, or maybe 6 points. It's very tight nonetheless. But not a terrible result to kick off the episode away from home. But jumping into our next one, we've got to return to winning ways here. FA Cup third round, where again, for I think the third season in a row, we take on Blackpool in this stage. This must be a glitch or something. Is Blackpool in the third round again? Come on, you Clarets. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is some sort of weird glitch or just a coincidence, but I'm pretty sure this is now the third year in a row we have faced Blackpool in the third round of the FA Cup. It seems like it must just be a glitch, because there's no way that coincidence occurs. As Banzuzi offloads to Leslie and Prass and Banzuzi. Oh, it's a brilliant finish on his debut. He's literally just signed about a week ago and Ezekiel is already off the mark. But if we face Swansea in the fourth round, we know that it must be a glitch, because that will be the exact same fixtures in the third and fourth round for 3 seasons in a row. That's got to be a glitch. Yeah, we've been completely in control in this first half. As Ezekiel comes forward again. Now he's got license to drive on. And as that's into Damien Burke, lovely skill. Burke for the second, what a finish. And this lad is having a fantastic breakout season for Burnley. He scored a couple of goals in the Europa League. I think he scored one in the Carabao Cup as well. And now he's on the mark in the FA Cup as well. Lovely skill to get away from the defender and on the stretch into the top corner to surely send us into the 4th round. Well, there's the whistle, and it was a really comfortable afternoon for Burnley in the end. Second half, we just kept hold of the ball, controlled things, didn't need to push for more goals as the job was already done in the first half. Let's head back to the menus and see who it's going to be in the 4th round, where it better not be Swansea, because that'll be the 3rd year in a row. Well, guys, as we get back to the menus, a couple of bids coming in. We'll get to them in just a moment. But in the FA Cup 4th round, the Clarets will be taking on Oxford United away at the Kassam. So not Swansea City, but it is another EFL side and another North London derby, as we saw in the League Cup. And quite a few of the big teams already out. No Liverpool, no City. Man City knocked out by Hull. Liverpool knocked out by Coventry. Well, already we've got a great chance in this competition. Still, of course, some big teams left in it, but I think we can go all the way in the FA Cup, like we're doing in the League Cup, with us reaching the semi-finals. But before we go any further, a couple of big bids to deal with. Bashir Humphreys wanted by United. No. He's not going back down to the Championship. He will be staying here. But this is a big one for Jørgen Strand Larsen. Arsenal coming in for him. But I'm going to say to Jørgen, give me at least until the summer. We're in the middle of the season. We're in a title race. I don't really have a replacement lined up. Give me until the summer. If Arsenal or another of the traditional top 6 come back in for him in the summer, I will negotiate. But I'm going to say to Jørgen, at least give me until the end of the season. And guys, before we jump into our next game, where we've still got over 130 million in the budget, and I don't want to spend it all. Obviously, we had the unexpected event that says we won't carry over any money into next season, but with us playing Champions League football, I'm expecting a pretty big budget next year anyway. And I don't want to break away from the realism to just go out and splash the cash on someone really, really good that I don't think would be a realistic signing. But one signing that I do think is pretty realistic is a man that has been recommended in the comments a few times, and that is the Brazilian Gabriel Peck. Of course, Amari Hutchinson is still down injured, and with Marcus Edwards now, he might be into his 30s. He's either 29 or 30. I think Gabriel Peck is another player who gives us great competition for places, and with Amari Hutchinson down, we are a little bit short on that right-hand side. So with money in the bank to be spent, whilst I'm not going to spend all of it, for another fantastic value for money deal, I'm going to go for the Brazilian, currently playing at Wolfsburg, and look to bring him to the Premier League. Yeah, that's another fantastic value for money signing. £20 million for Gabriel Peck, like we saw with Banzuzi earlier on in the episode. I think that's a really great bit of business. And as soon as Amari Hutchinson went down with that injury, I knew I wanted to bring this man in the January window. 27 years of age, in the peak of his career. And I think he will provide some great competition for Amari Hutchinson on that right-hand side. And we'll probably replace Amari maybe next year, maybe the year after, when we cash in on the Englishman. But a really, really good signing. And yeah, with all that money in the budget, I thought I've got to spend some. That might be our last signing of the window because I don't want to go overboard. But anyway, Carabao Cup semi-final time. Unfortunately, Gabriel Peck will not be available for the realism. He's only just signed on the day of the game, so he'll be in the stands for this one, but won't be in the matchday squad. We'll be massive underdogs taking on what will probably be a full-strength City side, whilst I, once again, will be trusting the backup brigade. But as long as we're in the tie heading back to Turf Moor for the second leg, I will see that as a good result. So it's Man City away at the Etihad. Come on, you Clarets. Yeah, I think we're going to struggle to create many chances today. So the main thing is just how long can we keep Manchester City out for us. Alex Scott gets the start today, as we're still trying to return him back to full match sharpness. In midfield alongside Banzuzi, who scored on his debut. That's lovely football, and Rudoni didn't really get hold of his shot and is pushed away by Donnarumma. But as I say, it's just a matter of how long we can keep Man City out today, as Bashir Humphries wearing the armband today goes close. Well guys, I'm really happy with our performance so far as we enter the final 20 minutes, and City haven't really had much of a sniff at our goal. We've defended really well, and as Max will claim that cross there, Man City just look a little bit lost for ideas at the moment, and at times we've played through the press really well. Zeki, was he onside? There he was. Releases Jack Rudoni. It's a brilliant finish. A man who doesn't get as much game time nowadays, but was our player of the season back in our first season of the save. Only really gets game time in the cups now, but trusted in the backup brigade. And they're doing brilliantly well this season as we look to make a push for Wembley in the EFL Cup. This will be a huge step to the final with the second leg to come at Turf Moor. What a finish. What a performance by the backup brigade here at the Etihad. Don't think anyone saw that coming, and yes, there's still a second leg to come, and I'd expect Man City to be much better in the return leg, but we fully deserved it tonight. We held our shape really well, and we took our chance on the break when it came. 1 foot into the final, and what would be our first visit to Wembley in the save. But still, as I say, a big second leg to come. But before we get there at the end of the episode, big games to come in the League and Europa League, and our next fixture sees us travelling to Wales to take on Swansea at the Liberty Stadium, or the Swansea.com Stadium I think it's now called. We only just beat them in the return fixture at Turf Moor after going a goal behind, so I'm after a convincing win here in the Premier League. Come on you Clarets. Yeah, we've not really got going here today as Newcastle going a goal up at the G-Tech, but we've been quite inconsistent recently. We've had some fantastic results this year. Think about the win against Wolves in the previous episode, that big win at Craven Cottage against Fulham, but some disappointing runs of form as well. Oh, that is just typical, man. Back-to-back defeats against Everton and Spurs, and then back-to-back defeats against City and Brentford, and like in the game at Turf Moor, we trail against Swansea City again. This is not good enough, man. We've got to sort this inconsistency out. Well, guys, that's going to do it. And Strand Larsen just hit the deck in the final moments. I think it's just going to be a bruise, but I didn't see the full animation. But it just sort of sums up our performance today. Nowhere near good enough. We didn't force the Swansea keeper into a single save today. Probably our worst performance of the entire save, and that's really saying something after some of our poor results in Season 1, but that is just not good enough, and I need a much better reaction in our next game in midweek, match day 7 of the Europa League, as we take on Benfica. I believe it's at home at Turf Moor, but in the Premier League we've just been so inconsistent over the last couple of months. Need to get back to winning ways in Europe here, and thankfully we've got a game in a few days' time to put it right. Come on you Clarets. Oh, Richard Rios, great run. Brilliant run from Rios, what a goal. I'm a big fan of this lad as well. Signed for Benfica in the summer, but he's a serious talent. It's been a tough start in real life, but he's settled in the save, made himself a bit of a staple of this Benfica team. And they look set to make it back-to-back defeats in all competitions for Burnley. And we've definitely not been at our best today. Poor little run of form this for the Clarets. Gasly forward to Luca. Illing Jr. on the overlap. Lovely ball slid through by Luca. And Burke through for Broja, and right off the bench, Armando gets us back on level terms. Second goal in the Europa League this season. And what a wonderful substitution that was. Lovely passing move. And Damien into Armando with a lovely pass. And he was never going to miss from there. Can we turn this around and win it now? And Zuzi tails her up a bit now. Ezekiel finds Jaden. Broya, who's made a difference, releases Juve down the left. He's got Jaden with him. And there's Armando. Oh, what an appearance off the bench from Armando Broya. He's only been on the pitch about 15 minutes and he's completely flipped the game on its head. Burnley in front from a goal down, and this will secure progression into the last 16. Brilliant comeback. And there is the whistle at Turf Moor. What a substitution to bring on Armando for Zeki, who's been struggling for goals as of late. And get the better of Bruno Lage's side with a big victory that I think will confirm us into the last 16 of the Europa League. We've got Zagreb on match day 8 where we can now go into that knowing that progression is secured, and we needed that after that terrible result at Swansea in the previous game. Right, just keeping the games rolling. Our bogey team up next as we take on Bournemouth at home at Turf Moor once again. Our games against them are always fantastic, and both of our last 2 games have finished 3-2 to Burnley, so I'm expecting more goals and more drama here as we take on Andoni's side. Come on, you Clarets. Well, normally our games... Oh, he's in. Trafford can't get there. And I called it. I knew that we weren't getting there as Juve was out of position, as Stev couldn't get across in time, and as Trafford raced out, Bournemouth take the lead. Well, normally our games against the Cherries have loads of goals. This has been really tight so far, but now we have the opening goal. Could we see the game open up? Trafford will bowl the ball out. Finds Jaden Philogene. And Zuzi now finds Illing Jr. off the bench, who has got a good track record against the Cherries. And now it's Rudoni. Not the quickest, but Rudoni finds Jaden. And Jaden, Gabriel Peck off the bench, off the crossbar. And Paulson will claim the rebound. So close to that equalising goal, but again, when it's not going your way, it just feels like everything goes against you. And every team goes through a spell like this in the season. And as I say, you've just got to find a way to play through it. I feel like we did enough to claim a point today, but it was a game of fine margins. Unlike our previous fixtures against the Cherries, but back-to-back 1-0 defeats in the Premier League. And again, we've had a couple of these tricky little spells throughout the course of the season where we've gone on back-to-back defeats. But we've just got to find a way to play through it. We've got match day 8 of the Europa League up next, which is a game that we can play with no real pressure, and then it is Leeds away at Ellen Road in our next league game. We've got to get back to winning ways to keep ourselves in the title race as we head into the second half of the season. But let's close out the Europa League phase campaign here and hope to get back to winning ways. Come on, you Clarets. Yeah, this is a bit of a dead rubber game here, really, because I think both ourselves and Zagreb are most likely going to be heading through directly to the last 16. So for both of us, it's a bit of a dead rubber. But I have to say, for Burnley, we're desperate to get back to winning ways here as Rudoni opens the scoring straight away. And whilst we have struggled in the league, the Europa League and the Cups have been a nice distraction for us today as we've gone on a nice little winning run in these other competitions, but we've got to pick it back up in the league. Well, that's going to do it here in Zagreb. Really poor game, guys. Again, we weren't at our best, and the early goal from Rudoni was enough to claim the 3 points, which will mean that we end the league phase completely undefeated. I think it is 6 wins and 2 draws in our 8 games, so a pretty good return in the league. But again, we've not been at our best recently, and although we've been getting the wins in these cup competitions, we've got to translate that into our league form. Taking on Leeds away at Ellen Road, massive game, and we need to get back to winning ways here. Come on, you Clarets. Yeah, these back-to-back defeats in the Premier League have seen us slip down to 5th place, and that just goes to show how tight it is as Hannibal slipped through. He's onside, he needs a goal, and he gets it as well. But we've not had 3 defeats in a row in the Premier League all season long, and we need a big performance here today. Hannibal, who's not scored for a couple of months, I don't think it is, finally back on the score sheet, and that's the perfect start here at Ellen Road. James back to Tanaka, lifted forward. Juve does well. Now maybe a chance to break. That's a lovely ball into Hannibal, and he flicks it on for Jadon to burst onto. Great opportunity here. Jadon picks out Florentino for 2. And he doesn't get forward too often. We saw him score right at the end of the previous episode against Wolves, tapping into an empty net. But that's a storming run from our holding midfielder. As I say, he doesn't get forward too often, but he gets on the break. Larson pulls away the defender, and he's got the composure to take the ball around Ampadu and slide it into the back of the net for the second. Doesn't look as if we're going to be falling to 3 defeats in a row, as we should be back to winning ways here. More goals for us today, though, if we want to keep going. There's definitely more goals today, as we can get at this Leeds back 3, and Hannibal finds Jorgen. He needs a goal, and he's going to get it as well. Not great goalkeeping from Melier, and finally Strand Larsen is back on the score sheet. 11th of the campaign, and Burnley have 3 in the first half here at Ellen Road. Yeah, there's more goals for us here today if we really want to go for it, and I think after the run of form we've been on, we need to go for it, as Larsen gets his 2nd of the afternoon, celebrates in front of those Leeds fans, and they are having a torrid time. And I've said we've been so inconsistent recently, some really poor results, but we've hit some big wins as well against Fulham and Wolves in the previous episode, and now here against Leeds. We just can't do it on a consistent basis. Well, there is the whistle, guys, and that is exactly the sort of result and performance that Burnley needed. Back on track in the Premier League after back-to-back defeats, and boos ringing around Ellen Road as the home crowd look bemused as they watch the players walk off the pitch. But Jorgen Strand Larsen with 2 goals as he is back on target, and a big victory for the Clarets, especially heading into what is going to be our final game of this bumper episode of Career Mode. Carabao Cup semi-final, 2nd leg against Manchester City, leading by 1 after our snatch and grab victory at the Etihad, returning back to Turf Moor here, looking to reach Wembley for the first time in the save. Come on, you Clarets. Yeah, in the rain here, I think we're going to need a similar level of disciplined performance as we saw at the Etihad, as right on cue Leslie pinches the ball back. But again, we've got to have a threat going the other way when we do get the ball and we break, as Rudoni offloads to Juve. And there's Zeki bursting onto it. Oh, Zeki is desperate for a goal at the moment. Deflected behind for the corner, which Illing Jr. will swing in. It's dangerous. Oh, it's over Juve's head. And if he'd got contact on that, it could have been a great opportunity, as Peck finds Juve again. And now Zeki, and it's been a good start from the Clarets. Zeki! Sorry, it's Rudoni. And he's done it again. Beats Donnarumma from a tight angle, who was maybe expecting a pullback. And Burnley have the opening goal here at Turf Moor and double our advantage as we look to reach Wembley for the first time in this save. That's a huge goal. Again, we're just sitting in our shape and saying to City, come and break us down. Come and break us down if you think you can. And so far, we've defended really well, as now Illing Jr. gets away on the break. Now finds Gabriel Peck. Burke once more. If we get a third, that might be game, as Illing Jr. finds Gabriel Peck for 3. And the backup brigade are at it once again. Gabriel Peck with his first goal for the club. And surely that is Burnley into the final now. Corner for City here. Illing Jr. heads away. Zeki gets there first. Needs some support. Great centre forward play from Zeki, and he lifts it for Luca, and this will be the icing on the cake. Luca for 4. It's a brilliant finish for what might be his first goal of the campaign. What a statement from Burnley here at Turf Moor. You thought we were washed. You thought we were out of the title race. But Burnley are saying, no, it was just a mini blip. And this is what we're really made of. A 3-0 victory here against Manchester City. 4-0 on aggregate. And what a way to close out today's episode. That is where we will leave it, guys. It's a brilliant victory after what has been a tricky run of form in the Premier League, mainly in today's episode. We've done well in Europe through to the last 16 and, of course, into the 4th round of the FA Cup as well. But as for the Carabao Cup, it will be Liverpool in the final. That is going to be a huge, huge game. I'm not sure if it will come in the next episode or maybe 2 episodes' time. But regardless, that is a huge feat for Burnley. And we will play in our first domestic cup final of the save as we look to win our first trophy for, I'm not even sure how long it is. It is decades since their last major honour. We'll also close out deadline day today as well, guys. Quite a quiet one, as nobody is going to be leaving the club, and I'm already happy with the signings of Banzuzi and Gabriel Peck, both of whom scored their first goals for the club in today's episode. But I'll catch you in the next one, where we're going to have more big games in the Premier League. Take care, guys, and peace.